Oh, I'm sorry. Parliamentary inquiry, Madam Chair.
Yes, the gentleman can state his parliamentary.
Are we going to have several rounds of questioning?
In consultation with the ranking member, we're going to have one round of questioning. But I always, you know, Mr. Westmoreland, I don't know where you're coming from. Here we are dealing with a very important issue. And you know that this committee is run in a bipartisan way.
Absolutely.
So if you need extra time in a second round, I will grant it to you.
So, but you said we're only going to have one round?
If you haven't finished with your question, I always ask, before we conclude our proceedings, if there is any member who wishes to ask any more question. So I'm going to give you your 5-time period in consultation with the ranking member. It's always been the tradition of this committee. And under Rule 6 of the Small Business Committee, I have the authority in consultation with the ranking member. It's always been like that. But if you need extra time, I will grant the extra time to you,
well,
sir.
just another parliamentary inquiry, Madam Speaker.
Yes.
So are you saying Rule 6 of the committee overrides the House rules?
In concert with the House rule.
Okay, so you're saying it's in conjunction with that, or you're
Correct.
acting within the House rules? So Clause 2J of 2A of Rule 11 of the House rules permits me to ask each member of the panel to have 5 minutes of questioning for each one of those members. Are you saying that the committee rule will override the rules of the House?
The committee rules give me the authority with the ranking member
To override,
so that we can
to
give
override the House
an
rules?
opportunity to every member. How long you been in this committee and how long you been in Congress?
This is my third term, but I don't know if that has
When you
anything
were
to
in the
do with how the
majority,
rules
when you
are
were in the
applied.
majority, did you ever
Well-
raise this issue
Well,
to give every member
no, ma'am, I
5
didn't,
minutes to
because
question
I never
every?
had an opportunity. But let me explain to the chair lady. It doesn't matter how long you've been in Congress. If you've been here 1 day or 20 years, the rules are the rules, and so that does not have any effect on how the rules are applied or
The
who they're
gentleman
applied
is
to.
being recognized for 5 minutes.
Well, and I thank the gentlelady for that. Mr. Chilton, just to give you some other things to look forward to, if you think the Clean Water Act, which I believe the General Chairlady was an original co-sponsor of, that would be H.R. 2421, that was introduced last year with 166 Democratic co-sponsors and 10 Republicans. But if you think the taking navigable out of the clean water, wait till you get some information on Mr. Cass Sustin, who is the President's nominee for the Office of Information and Regulatory Affairs. He believes that livestock, wildlife, and pets have legal rights to file lawsuits. So if you think a third-party lawsuit coming for a water issue is a problem, wait till your cows start suing you. My question to each one of you, I guess, is how clean is clean? Mr. Cruz, we'll start off with you.
Well, I think, as has been stated by many of us today, and again, Congressman Graves mentioned this in his comments, whether you talk about clean water or clean air or whatever, I have always believed as a fourth-generation farmer. In fact, my dad will be 99 years old in September, and from the time I was a little boy, he continued to lecture me, son, you want to leave this farm in better shape than you took it over. And so if we're talking about water, we're concerned about the overreach of the federal government by taking the word navigable out. By the same token, we in no way, none of us here, are saying that we want to disregard trying to do everything we can to make sure our water's clean, our air's good, the soil's good. Most farmers and ranchers live on the land they care for. Their children and grandchildren run on the land and drink the water and breathe the air. So it is important to be good stewards of the land and the water and the soil. But at the same time, I think you have to strike a balance and have some common sense. And the fear that we've all expressed here today is the fear of taking the word navigable out of the Clean Water Act and what that could portend down the road.
And you've made reference to some of the instances that you would have, such as a pothole or a prairie hole, so to speak, where maybe an animal or deer has gone and tried to dig up some salt or whatever that creates a hole. In that same piece of legislation, and I think Mr. Chilton referred to this, it mentions anything that would affect the water. So if you were going to fertilize your land, that could require a 404 permit, could it not?
Yes, sir. I think you're exactly right.
And
if you were going to spray a herbicide, that could conceivably require a permit.
And the Corps of Engineers, I wish it would have been very appropriate today, I think, to have somebody from the Corps on a separate panel or somebody from the EPA on a separate panel so we could have questioned them about some of these things, because I would like to hear the Corps' response to a question about how long would it take them to review 404 permits for every farmer that wanted to fertilize his pasture or wanted to spray some herbicide or wanted to turn some soil over, or somebody might want to create a food plot for wildlife or whatever. Those things would be involved in that process if this legislation passed, where the language said anything that affect water, and because, of course, the word navigable out of it, it would be any water. Is that not true, Mr. Cruz?
Yes, sir. That's exactly the way I see it.
Thank you. And Mr. Chilton, I hate to keep coming back to you, but, you talked about the lawsuits from the third party. Do you realize that your federal government funds a lot of those environmental groups that file suit against the government?
That's correct. In my cases, the Center for Biological Diversity in 2004 received $900,000 from the federal government from suing the federal government. That's in their financial statements. In terms of your question on clean water, I'm very proud to say that we hired a hydrologist from the University of New Mexico to come do a hydrological study on our ranch. And he found that we had so much grass and took such good care of our ranch that the natural erosion was far below what would be expected in a normal circumstance. We use no pesticides. We use no other products except we have native grass. And so our water is clean, except sometimes there's a little mud in it. And it never goes anywhere. However, if the American public requires a permit to put insecticide on my, if I wanted to put insecticide on my farm, or if I wanted to fertilize the farm, and I had to wait 2 years, 313 days for a nationwide permit, I mean, that's totally ridiculous.
Time is expired.
Thank you.
Mr. Lukemeyer.